Hey folks, how's everybody doing today? Rex from Tampa Muay Thai over here. Alright, so not really entirely sure why, but a number of you have actually reached out to me in text messages and DMs and asked me to make a video sharing my opinions on Jake Paul. And I can only assume this has to do with the fact that he just had a fight with Anderson Silva. But for the past 2 weeks, I've had quite a few of you just ask me to talk about him real quick and share my honest opinions about him as a boxer, as a man, as a whatever, right? So for those of you who don't know, Anderson Silva last night, October 29th, had a fight against Jake Paul. They went 8 rounds, 3-minute rounds each, and y'all want to know what I really think about him, right? Spoiler alert, I'm letting you guys know right now. If you don't want to know how the fight went, probably exit out of this video until you watch the fight. Alright, so there was your warning. Now, anything that happens to this point forward is on you. Anderson Silva lost the fight. He got clocked hard in the 8th round. Got dropped pretty hard, convincingly, and went to the unanimous decision victory to Jake Paul. And I agree, I scored it that way as well. As far as Jake Paul is concerned, you all really want to know what I actually think about the man. Y'all actually want to know like my opinions on him. You ready? Here it goes. I don't care. I don't watch his content. I don't pay attention to the man. When I watch his fights, I'm not watching the fights for him. The first fight I ever watched with him was when he fought that basketball player guy. And the only reason that I watched that fight was because he was on the main card for the Mike Tyson fight. So I watched Jake Paul only because I wanted to watch Mike Tyson. The second fight I watched was against Tyron Woodley. And I wanted to watch that one because I like to watch Tyron Woodley. Same thing for the second one. I watched that one also for Tyron Woodley. The fight last night against Anderson Silva, I watched it for Anderson Silva. I didn't watch it for Jake Paul. I don't care about him. I don't consume his content. The only content I consume are his fights. So there you go. I don't care about Jake Paul. It's not that I hate him. It's not that I don't like him. It's just that he's not someone that I care about. He's not particularly talented as a boxer. Yes, he's a good, decent boxer. You know, he knows what he's doing. His footwork's getting better. His fundamentals are getting better. His movements are getting better. Timing, speed. You know, he displays a pretty high intelligence of boxing. Is it at an elite level? Hell no. I don't think anybody who actually knows anything about martial arts thinks that he fights at an elite level. He's fighting elite guys who are retired way past their prime and have taken a tremendous amount of damage along the way. But that does not make him an elite boxer. You know, Canelo Alvarez is an elite boxer. Miguel Cotto is an elite boxer, was an elite boxer. You know, those are like the top level guys. Jake Paul is nowhere near any of those guys. And I don't think he, for a second, thinks he's anywhere near those guys. Yes, last night after the fight, he called out Canelo Alvarez. But why did he do that? Because he knew that people were going to talk about it. Case in point, I'm here right now talking about it, and you're here right now watching me talk about it. What do I really think about him? I think he's a very smart guy who knows how to get attention, grab onto the attention, and maximize his potential and take it to the next level. I think that he's a boxer, a martial artist, who enjoys the game of boxing, of martial arts, of combat sports. And he's found a way to combine those two things and make a lot of money out of it and get a lot of eyes onto boxing. Here's the biggest thing about boxing. It's a dying sport. It's pretty much a dead sport. It could use a lot of help with better promotions, better organizations, and better systems. Why is the UFC so huge? Because the UFC isn't a promotion. It is a company with a lot of systems, a lot of checks and balances in place. When you watch boxing matches be promoted, what are they promoting? They're promoting Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant, featuring WBC, HBO, Showtime, etc. When you watch UFC events, the UFC features Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson, Gilbert Burns versus Khamzat Chimaev. They're promoting the UFC first, which features the fights. Boxing doesn't do that. They have boxers featuring the companies. You know, it's a different formula. And as a result, there's a lot of dirt and crap within boxing that prevents it from properly scaling and being a better organization. as a result, a lot of people don't pay attention to boxing, which is a shame because it's a beautiful sport. Case in point, last night, Lomachenko was fighting. A lot of people, including fighters, martial artists, did not know that. Everybody was talking about the Anderson Silva Jake Paul fight. Nobody was talking about the Lomachenko fight. And some of my friends are huge fight nerds. They pay a very close attention to the fight game, and they're like, "Wait, Lomachenko's fighting?" That's the thing. People knew more about the Anderson Silva and Jake Paul fight than they knew about the Lomachenko fight. Lomachenko is an elite level boxer. He is one of the best in this game. Jake Paul is not. Anderson Silva is not. Anderson Silva is an old, retired guy from the UFC who is a mixed martial artist first. He's just playing retirement right now. Jake Paul is maybe a high C, very low B level boxer who has yet to be properly tested by actual boxers. But what did the world watch last night? The world tuned in not to watch Lomachenko fight. They tuned in to watch Anderson Silva and Jake Paul fight. Two much lower level boxers. And even on their main card, featured a lot of boxers who were up and comers. So does boxing need a lot of help? It needs a tremendous amount of help. It needs a lot of help. It needs more eyes on it. It needs better promoters, better organizations, better systems. And Jake Paul is contributing to that right now. He's getting more attention onto boxing. Case in point, there are a number of young people who have signed up for boxing and other forms of martial arts because of Jake Paul. That's a very good thing, because there's a lot of other really bad things that young kids, young men in particular, and causing trouble, but instead they're signing up for martial arts, which is very constructive and usually make the turns of troubled youth into better human beings. And I like to ask people all the time, how did you get into martial arts? And it's more than a few times that I've heard, well, I watched Jake Paul box. I watched the Jake Paul fight, and I wanted to get into a boxing gym. And that's a really good thing, because the people who watch Jake Paul, most of them aren't boxers. They're not fighters. They're not martial artists. The people who watch Haney fight, the people who watch Gervonta Davis fight, the people who watch Tank fight, those people are typically fight enthusiasts and don't need help being convinced to get into a boxing gym, into a martial arts gym, into a dojo. They're not the ones that need convincing. They're not the ones who are looking for a better outlet. The people who watch Jake Paul are typically mostly young men. And a lot of young men these days need something better to do with their time, something constructive. And boxing is a very good outlet for that. Martial arts is a very good outlet for that. I'm 100% about that. And for that, I'm very thankful. And I think that he's doing great work. Do I disagree with his fight career? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know. I've never really thought about it. Well, he hasn't fought any boxers that are noteworthy. He hasn't been really tested. He doesn't do a full 12-round fight. And he doesn't need to, because he can fight whoever the heck he wants to fight. Just like you and I can fight whoever the heck we want to fight. At the end of the day, he's a guy who likes boxing, who has a huge social media influence, and has merged those two together and gotten a lot of eyes on him and gotten young people into the gym. He's getting more eyes onto boxing, which needs a lot of help right now. You know, the boxing world is full of corruption. It's full of really bad players who do really bad things and screw over a lot of people. And the fact that he's not relying on those organizations, he's doing it himself. You know, I think that's very commendable. I don't know how well he's taking care of the other fighters. What I do know is he collected 1.5 mil guaranteed fight purse plus 65% on his pay-per-views on his fight with Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva has a $500,000 guaranteed fight purse and 35% pay-per-views. Jake's probably going to walk home with $10 million at the end of the day. Silva's probably going to walk home with about $3.5 million at the end of the day, you know. And all the people on his undercard, they're young, up-and-coming fighters who probably would have been on like the prelim cards on any other fight. And because Jake Paul doesn't answer to anybody but Jake Paul, he got them onto his main card more eyes on them got them more exposure. I think those are very good things. I don't know him as a human being. I don't watch any of his content or any of his brother's content. Only content that I watch are their fights, because I enjoy fighting. I enjoy watching fights. I enjoy watching combat sports. And it's sad that boxing is in this state that it's in. It could use a lot of help. And he's doing his part to help it out. And that's very commendable. Do I disagree with some of the things that I see, like his beef with Dana White and the UFC? Yeah, I think he's a moron for that one. I made a video telling Jake Paul to fight Israel Adesanya about a year ago. I kind of look back at that video like, man, that was a really dumb video. Probably shouldn't have made it, but it is what it is. I made it, and it's up there. You guys can go watch it if you want. But at the end of the day, he's done a lot for the boxing world and the martial arts world. He's done a lot, and he's not done yet. He's just getting started. He's gonna keep doing more and more of this stuff. And it'll be very fascinating to pay attention to his career and the moves that he makes. I'm still gonna continue to live my best life. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I do train boxing every once in a while. Maybe one day he'll fight an actual boxer. Maybe he won't. Maybe one day he'll fight Canelo Alvarez and get knocked the fuck out. Maybe he won't. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more things to pay attention to than just a random YouTuber guy who picked up boxing and is now fighting ex MMA UFC guys.